Hello everybody, Matthew here again with another great episode of MEB Pod. It is episode 20, so I made it to number 20. It's been a tough road down here to get here, but I am excited to keep going, keep posting these little reels. I don't want to get burnt out. I'm trying my best not to. It's a little tough sometimes. But I do enjoy always doing the podcast, even though the views are getting minimal views on the long form episodes. But I enjoy getting on here and talking, even though half the things it makes no sense, half the time no one really cares. But at the end of the day, I like to do this more like the podcast form. I would love to have like in-person guests, have a little back and forth, but it's hard to find people that actually kind of believe in themselves and believe in me, to let alone. I know I have like family members that would do it, and I, greatly appreciate it. But when I see, family members are always going to be there to support, and and that's great and all. But I am just excited to keep moving forward with this. Eventually, I just want to prove to myself, most importantly, and all the people out there that I can do this, and that I have a platform, like some of these other podcasters, the guys out there, the big names, I don't have that. You don't have to be someone special, big time name already to get up there. But at the end of the day, I'm excited. I like doing this. Whether you guys follow or listen or jump in, I enjoy doing it, so we'll kind of get more or less right into it. I didn't plan anything. This is going to be kind of right off the top of my head. Every second I wanted to get it out there. Like I've said, every episode, I'm sure. I am back in Miami. I'm back home, from home. I was just in St. Louis, so that's going to be kind of diving into my birdie and my double bogey. My birdie is, I had a fantastic time back home. Was able to celebrate my nephew's first birthday. He's an adorable little man, Austin. He had more gifts that I could count. He enjoyed all the cake. He dove right in, I guess. Yeah. I guess his mother, he wasn't sure what the cake was, but after he got a little taste of it, his mother kind of put his finger in there and tasted it, and it was all downhill from there. It was a great time. It was really nice out there, a nice day, no rain, kind of lucked out there. It's been a good year for the little man, I guess. It seemed like he enjoyed all the gifts and seeing all his family. I know he really wasn't a fan of his birthday at the beginning due to he got his first haircut. He was not too happy about that. But long story short, he had a good time. And I had a good time, and I'm sure everyone else there had a pretty good time. So I'm glad to see that he's getting bigger. The last time I held him, maybe I'll post a picture in here from the before and after of what he's about 7 pounds to shoot. He's probably good. I don't know how much he weighs now, but he's getting big. I guess he's eating a lot, so that's what babies do. They grow quick. So looking forward to seeing him again. I was able to get a round of golf in with the brothers. I didn't play great at all. I had a few good shots, but other than that, it was kind of a tough little course I've never played before out in Labadee, Missouri, Wolf Creek. I didn't play very well, but at the end of the day, I'm not out there to try to shoot under par. I'm not out there to get frustrated. I'm out there to enjoy myself. I was able to get a couple of pars, and I chipped in for birdie, which was very nice for me. That could have been my birdie. I mean, literal birdie, but So that was kind of neat. I guess my double bogey more or less would be just the fact that I know, and I'm not one to like get frustrated over the game, but I could not hit anything flush at all out there. I played probably one of the worst rounds. I guess I didn't know the course. I didn't have any kind of, I didn't. But when you go to play from, chambers where everything's in pristine position, and then you've got caddies out there kind of helping you direct the ball, it kind of helps. But I just couldn't. I was hitting the ball in the wrong spots when there's a course you're not familiar with, which kind of brings me to my next point. I do want to get out there and play at the course down here in Miami that I'm used to playing all the time and see how much better I am. And I'm getting to learn how to play smart, which is, taking my medicine on shots that I'm behind trees and not trying to go for the hero shot. So I would like to see how I score out here now. Although I think Chambers Bay, I mean, it wasn't easy, but I like the whole link style course. I think that's really neat. I think the fact that you can get lucky out on link style courses because of all the bounces and the slopes and everything. I think it really, if you can hit it in the right, even remote area, I think you can get lucky with, the way it kind of, for example, we had one hole where everything would go down, and as long as you're hitting it up here to the right, it could kind of, and it high enough and enough loft, it could roll down to the pin, to where if you miss left, and I know a lot of I'm not a great golfer I don't have direction, I don't know how exactly where everything's going, but you can get a little lucky on link style from what I've noticed, and I would definitely, would love to play there again, let alone another link style course out in like Ireland or something. But yeah, just overall I didn't play very well out there. But at the end of the day I had a good time, so I really can't complain. Airports is going to be my double bogey though. I woke up bright and early to get on a plane at 5 in the morning, and then we're sitting on the tarmac for 30 minutes waiting for the plane to take off, and they let us know that the pilot called out sick. I know it happens. People get sick. Things happen. Things come up. But I was a little frustrated with this because I was tired. I didn't sleep all night the night before, so wasn't able to make my connection from Charlotte to St. Louis. They told me that I probably should try to book another flight free of charge, of course, which was great. So I booked this trip. The quickest one I could get to St. Louis was I had to fly into Washington and then out to St. Louis, Washington, D.C. So it was going to be Charlotte, Washington, D.C., and then St. Louis, which I was fine with. I was more worried about my clubs getting there. So what happened, I went up to the counter after I arrived in Charlotte, and then they ended up booking me on another flight directly out of Charlotte. But it was like I would have arrived in St. Louis like another hour later. And I said, fine, that's fine, whatever. But I just want to make sure my golf clubs arrive on the plane that I'm going to be on. And they said, yeah, it should. I'm like, well, I don't want to be should. I want to, yes, it will be kind of thing. But yeah, it was just a little stressful. Didn't know if my clubs were on the plane for the hour and 45-minute flight from Charlotte to St. Louis. Eventually landed in St. Louis, and luckily I made it there. My clubs made it there, which was great. That's all that at the end of the day that matters, is that I made it there safely, and clubs did end up making it too. But yeah, airport travel, I guess, more or less can be stressful at times. It's funny because I wasn't worried about me. I was more worried about my clubs, but they made it, so I can't really complain too much. We can dive into a little bit. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of September. We do have a big tournament coming up on Friday, the Ryder Cup. If I don't see Bryson DeChambeau teeing up on that first tee shot at Bethpage Black, I'm not going to be too happy. The guy's gotten so much heat from moving to Live Tour to doing this YouTube channel to, apparently the guy comes out and says he's buying subscribers and followers for his channel. He's paying for it. He's just, I don't know why people hate him so much. I think Scotty Scheffler, I'm glad, came out and said, oh, he's my buddy, he's my friend. We were able to play with each other in 2021 Ryder Cup. I like that he's kind of supporting his team, which, obviously he should. But it is going to be a battle here between Team Europe and Team USA. I just don't see any chance where this is going to be a blowout for either team. It's going to be about as close as you can get. The New Yorkers, the fans are going to be showing up for sure. Looking really forward to it. I like that these YouTubers come out with their versions of either a Ryder Cup with Barstool. They're doing their Ryder Cup WRITER CUP. Right now, I think they're on episode 7 with Frankie versus Keith Yandel and Minahan versus Francis. I watched about half of it last night. I'm going to finish it here probably after I do this. And then, your Bob Does Sports did the Bethpage Major Championship where Bob starts at 14 under, Joey starts at 10 under, and Fat Perez starts even. I watched that last night. That was entertaining. It kind of ate them alive. Those guys struggled on that course. But for the real Ryder Cup, I'm hearing that there's going to be opportunities for birdies out there. The rough is not as thick as it has been. The balls are kind of laying up a little bit. It looks like the hardest hole on the course this week will be 15, just because it's a par 4, but it's like 477, I want to say it's sitting at. And the way the green is, it's got a very big false front, so they got to make sure they get it past that. That'll be an exciting hole to watch. All in all, I'm just looking forward to, watching it and seeing the competition between some of the greatest golfers on this planet. YouTube golf has just, I think, to me, changed this whole, my whole perspective on the game and what it has to offer for people like myself. When it comes to just like the serenity of, like, I guess that'd be the right word. When I'm out there on the course, or I'm watching YouTube golf or the PGA guys or whatever it is, I'm out on a golf course, I'm doing something golf related, whether it's hitting it balls at the range, playing golf, like I said, watching golf. My head's quiet, my headspace. I'm not thinking too much about anything. It's just such a. I like it, I see these guys getting so frustrated, and I don't know why, because it's the best game out there. I think people just need to. And I love that what YouTube is doing, because it's getting more and more people into the game, which I think is great. I know I get a little awkward sometimes when I'm out there on the course and I'm trying to put my camera out and people are looking at me, and at the end of the day, I think it's kind of neat to go back and put the tracers on the shots, and I think it's, although, some of my tracers are going odd places, and I think that's why if I were a little better, I'd be much more comfortable filming myself, because, people would probably wonder, why the heck is this guy filming himself when he's topping at 40 yards, but like I said, I enjoy it. It keeps my mind quiet. I'm going to continue to do it. Hopefully, I was looking in and investing into like a new camera, as opposed to using my phone. Although, at the end of the day, the phone's doing the trick right now. My big issue is kind of going in there and editing. I want to know, because I have my phone like this, recording this, because I know it uploads to YouTube perfectly. But I want to know how, when you upload it like this, if you can squeeze it out to a, when I upload it like this, I want to know if I can thin it out to where I can put it on Instagram's stories and stuff like that, as opposed to having to flip my camera just for that. So there's a lot of things I need to learn for the editing part. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I just don't know how exactly. I would like to eventually get some long form content of me out on the course, playing like full rounds. Now, like this last week, I need to be a little more organized. I was trying to get the mics set up, but I forgot the cord that plugs into my phone to get it out there to get the better quality audio. But it is what it is. So hopefully we can, we're getting better. It's work in progress. But like I said, this whole podcast, whatever this is the best thing, best platform, I guess, way to get my voice out there. even though I'm not getting 100,000 views or anything, which is fine. But so we're going to get into a little baseball. It looks like the Cardinals are not going to make the playoffs. I don't think they're officially mathematically eliminated, but it is going to be. They've made some good comebacks last night against the Giants. That was a pretty unbelievable comeback. But so I guess we'll go next year. We're looking for the future for Major League Baseball for the Cardinals. Mariners. As I went to the Mariners game, so I'm kind of following a little closer to their progress. I think they clinched last night into the playoffs. Oops, what is that? So we've got NFL football. We've had some big games. This past Monday was the Lions and Ravens. What an unbelievable game. That probably will be the game of the year. Potential Super Bowl matchup. The Chiefs barely pulled one off Sunday night against the Giants. I don't know what's going on with the Chiefs' offense. I don't know what happened to them. I know they're missing a few key guys, but they still got Mahomes. And I know Travis Kelce's a little bit slower. He's getting too old. Not too old, but older, I guess. So he probably got maybe a year or two left max. We've got, college football is really kind of in the middle of it. Notre Dame finally got their first win, which was huge. I know it was against Purdue, and it was a must. They should have won for sure, but they definitely needed it. If they go undefeated, they go 10-2. I think they've got a pretty good shot at making the playoffs. Because if you think about it, they lost to the University of Miami by 4 points or whatever it was, and they lost by who did they lose the second game to? I don't even remember. I don't know why I can't. Georgia Tech, who was another top 25 team. So they lost to two of the top 25 teams in the country, and if they sweep the rest of their schedule, I think they're in. Your Missouri Tigers are undefeated 4-0 right now. They've got a homecoming coming up, I believe, against Boston College or UMass, which should be a win. So they should be 5-0 going into playing University of Alabama, which is always a tough game. SEC, they just beat South Carolina for their SEC opener. It was a close one. It was a good game. So they've got South Carolina. They've gotten, who else did they beat? They beat Kansas, which is a big win. If they could somehow pull off a win against Alabama. This Bo Pribula he's unbelievable to watch. He's a lot of fun to watch. They've got some good running backs. They've got a great offensive line. So if they can keep going with that, just keep running the ball, they've got an opportunity to surprise some people out there. I think they're a surprise team in the SEC. Excuse me. Tired, I guess. But I like what the Missouri Tigers are doing in the SEC. We've got some big games coming up here. I think it's this weekend. I think Alabama's playing Georgia. I think Oregon is playing Penn State, which will be a huge game. That should be a real big one. I think that's in Penn State. So, we've got a big week of sports this week. You've got between college football, these big games, you've got the NFL on Sunday, and of course the Ryder Cup. You just got a lot of good stuff in the near future for this weekend for sports. So, with that being said, we'll kind of more or less, it's gonna be a real short episode, which is fine with me this week, just because we're gonna dive into, of course, my picks of the week, which I never received any from anybody. So, like I said, I think the short form doesn't really get out there on anyone's algorithm too much. So, I just, but like I said, if you want to dive into your parlays of the week, I'm going to give you mine here in a minute. I know I was just back in St. Louis, and it looks like they're going to be getting live sports betting here on December 1st, which is kind of neat and good for them. Excited to see what, not that I'm going to be in Missouri very often, but it'll be kind of neat to do the sports betting for the Missouri locals. But we will do a little, like I said, a three bet parlay. Let me get one here. Let's just pick this. I'm just gonna go look at some nice games. You know, you got the Buffalo Bills are playing the Saints, so we're gonna do a Josh Allen one. I think Josh Allen is going to. I bet he scores not one but 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen's going to be scoring 2 touchdowns this week. They're going to score a lot of. I think they're going to put the ball in the end zone a bunch, and if he gets down there, he's going to put 2 in there. We got a big game against Philadelphia at Tampa Bay. We are going to do another player prop. Let's go some passing. Let's go Baker Mayfield. Oh wait, Baker Mayfield's going to have over 1.5 touchdown passes. So we got Baker Mayfield over 1.5 touchdown passes, and Josh Allen's going to be scoring 2 touchdowns. And let's pick a Dolphins game since I'm in Miami. Player props. I like doing the player prop. Or we'll do popular. We'll do under 45 points. So Dolphins, Jets, under 45 points. Josh Allen's going to score 2 touchdowns. And Baker Mayfield's going to throw over 1.5 touchdowns. So at least 2 touchdowns. So please like, share, and follow. Subscribe. Do whatever you got to do. Get the podcast out there. You know, I'm really trying to blow this thing up. I'm not getting too many views on the podcast or whatever. The long form content on YouTube. I really would like to get people on here. I really want to get some back and forth banter about whatever week's sports. We've got some basketball coming up. We've got an NHL coming up. So it doesn't matter if it's golf, baseball, football, whatever you want to talk about, we'll get on there. Now, I don't want to go into anything real crazy, weird political crap, but I do want to get this going. I want to get people out there. You know, this is kind of what I like to do now. You know, when I'm not playing golf, I'm not planning trips, or I'm not at work. You know, this is it's kind of like my little hobby, and I want to get it out there. I want to get people involved, you know, so that's why I'm kind of doing this thing here. And like, if my picks hit, you know, you guys can make a little extra dollar yourself too. So I don't think my picks have actually failed too much. I think I hit them last week, which I don't remember exactly what they were, but for some reason I feel like I looked at it last week. But yeah, I'm just trying to get my name out there. Well, not my name, but like, I want to get people involved, and people, you know, I know people are busy too, and this is not their number one priority, but you know, it would be neat to get people out there. I don't care if I know you. If I don't even know you, if you want to get on here, you just let me know. I'm happy to pop you in, and we'll just chat for 45 minutes and get going, and we'll make a move. And if you do know me, we could do it in my studio number 4 here, or studio 803 here in Miami, Florida. That's what I'm gonna call the studio 803. So live from Studio 803, I'm going to probably be heading out here because I got to get going and getting stuff ready for tonight. Hopefully we've got a good weekend. Hopefully everyone else has a good weekend. We've got some good football and stuff coming up this weekend, good golf. So please shoot me your feedback, like, share, follow. I really am trying to get this thing out there. I want to prove to myself that I can hang with the best of the podcast world, the YouTube world, which I know I can. I know I'm capable, and I'm capable of anything more or less. So I'm excited to keep pushing these out every week and getting to know the community of YouTube and the YouTubers out there, and some of the best. So, well, thank you very much for listening. Appreciate you coming out and following. Please, like I mentioned, like, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. I know I see it on all the other videos, and it seems to work, so hopefully you can get that out there. Thank you.